Hey there, I'm Jill Griffin, and this is the Career Refresh Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back. This week, I want to talk to you about showing up, holding space, and supporting your colleagues. You know, if you've been following any of the business and mainstream news, you know that there have been layoffs at Amazon, Google, Wayfair, Microsoft, Meta, Twitter, and those numbers look kind of large. I also want to point out, though, that while this is heartbreaking for those employees who wanted to still work and didn't want to lose their job, it is still the layoffs are still isolated, right? They're not spread widely beyond that. And you may be working in an organization that has been trimming people little by little, and I've been in there, and that can be brutal too, because it's like the slow leak of people each week. Or you may be in an organization that's not affected, but I'm guessing you probably know people that are affected. And what I want to really talk about is how to show up for the people who have been affected, right? My career personally has been a signing bonus and a severance package. And I've said that before, and I say that I can laugh today because, the first time I got laid off, I was like, oh my God, it was heart-wrenching. Like I didn't know what to do, right? And I recall the president who laid me off had tears in her eyes when she did so. But it was early .com days and they needed to make some cuts. So, finding my way through that. And then in future, when you work in tech, often it's high risk and high rewards, and working in tech and marketing, same thing. So there tends to be layoffs that happen in a cyclical type of nature. Win a piece of business, there are lots of hires, and then equally lose a piece of business or a top account, and there are layoffs. So while it was scary many years ago, over the years, I really learned how to navigate through it through the help of friends and a really strong network. It's one of the reasons why I continue to talk about building your network on my podcast, because even when we think about through COVID, COVID was hard, again, in many ways for many of us. But for those of us that had a strong network, it wasn't as hard. And this is really what it is. It's time for us to show up for the people who have gotten laid off. So the help of friends, a strong network, some grace and grit and resilience on my part is how we got through it. So if you've been laid off, you know how it feels. There can be a mix of emotion. And again, I'm here to remind you that the layoff has nothing to do with you. It has to do with your employer's lack of strategy and planning. So even though it feels like it has a lot to do with you, it doesn't. And if you're under 40, you've probably never experienced a mass layoff or been hearing in the press regularly that there are layoffs. But if you survived the layoff at your company, now is not the time to hide, to hold back, or to wallow in any of your discomfort. This is the time we need to show up for our former colleagues or our friends in the industry. And after watching layoffs and working with hundreds of clients who've shared how layoffs went down at their organization, plus coaching quite a few people who have been laid off, I want to share some top tips that I find are the most helpful for supporting your friends and colleagues through this time. The first is about listening. In the immediate aftermath, it's about holding space, right? And what that means is just letting the person express what it is that they need to express. This is not the time for you to offer your wartime story. This is not the time for you to discuss, how bad it is in the office now and you have an increased workload. This is not about you this time. If you're asked a direct question or someone saying how did you get through it when you were laid off? Yes, absolutely. If you have experience, share it. But wait till you're asked. This is the time to let them be heard. And while they may have been laid off in a brutal way, others have been laid off with care. We've read the stories or heard the stories of people who went to work and all of a sudden their building access card was shut down, and that's how they found out in the lobby in front of everyone that they were laid off. Brutal, right? But either way, whether they were laid off with care or whether they were laid off in a heartless way, they're probably going to have some big emotions. So this time of listening is allowing them. They may feel anger. They may feel betrayal. They may feel grief. And the grief, again, is to remember that we grieve because we loved, right? We loved something and now we're grieving the loss of it. And they also might be ridiculously happy. This was the best thing, then they really wanted this. Either way, the old adage, 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them proportionally. Allow space to listen. The next area is networking. Don't just say let me know if I can help, or shoot them a message on LinkedIn that says, let me know if I can help. You can, This is the time to show up for them. Ask them what kind of help they're looking for. People may just need some time to reflect on what's next, or they may want to get right back out there. So offering to send them articles, job postings as you see things, introducing them to people in your network, this is actually what they need at this point very often. This is showing up for them. This is the golden rule, right? Doing unto others as you would have do to yourself. This is the time to do it. The last area is FOMO. It's fear of missing out. So depending on their financial situation, and frankly yours, this is not going to be a one-size-fits-all solution. But one of the biggest things that we know about jobless people and what they experience is that there's a loss of connection due to the loss of, connecting to the industry, the loss of the job, the loss of a professional community. So often people feel embarrassed or ashamed, and they don't know what to say if there is a social or a professional event. So here's an opportunity where invite them out. And if you can, tell them that drinks are on you, that this is your treat. They may not take you up on it, but I'm guessing they are going to appreciate it. So if there's a networking event and you're going together, that can help with the initial buffer as when they walk into the event and they start socializing at the moment. And really being able to support someone as they're having, you can see it on their face, right? As they're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I mean, one of the things in this particular moment is because there have been so many layoffs, there's a chance that depending on the individual, it may feel a little bit easier to say, and it may not. And either way is not wrong. You're not wrong for however you feel about this situation. I would love to hear from you about how you are supporting friends and colleagues in the industry during layoffs. Send me an email, hello@jillgriffincoaching.com. I will include them on LinkedIn and get them out there, and we can help share and help each other get through this time. All right. As always, thank you for being here, and here's to possibility. Hey, thanks for listening to the Career Refresh podcast. If you're enjoying this and you want more information, go to my website, jillgriffincoaching.com. There you can find information on how to work with me one-on-one or my group programs, or even bring me into your workplace. I'll put the link to my website in the show notes. But hey, listen, before you go, do me a favor, rate and review this podcast because it definitely helps me get the word out to people everywhere so that they can also thrive in the workplace. All right, friends, I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.